What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today's going to be a bit of a controversial video. I think that a lot of the lower ranked players are going to absolutely hate me today. As you guys know, I am a top 100 player, peaking in the top 50s. I like this channel to be focused on more of an educational point of view from a high level standpoint, and not gonna lie, you're not gonna enjoy what I have to say about Majin Vegeta. Let's get into the video. Alright guys, welcome back. As always, you have the giveaway info for the month of November on your screen. Make sure that you're subscribed and that you're liking the video and posting in the comments below the 2 answers to the questions I'll be asking you throughout the video if you want to take part in this giveaway. That being said, let's get right into the video. Start with Majin Vegeta. Now, the reason why I'm going to start with him is because there's been so much hype about Majin Vegeta. We got a last minute announcement that he was going to be released, and honestly, everyone is kind of just saying they're going to drop their whole wallets on him. I think that he is a very high skill cap character, and that for the most part, he is not a good unit. I'll be completely blunt and upfront with you guys. Looking at Majin Vegeta, I think that the game has finally given us a unit that will be very strong in lower rankings and very bad at the higher rankings. Usually it's the opposite, right? So Bardock, Instant Transmission, Goku, Janemba, 16's cover change, all of these kind of high skill cap units that need to be used very specifically, very efficiently, which obviously get better the higher you go in the rankings. This unit will be the opposite, where lower ranking players are just going to be crying about his unique ability, his damage, right? So let's have a look at these abilities here. First of all, I want to take a look at his cards. Now, this is the first time we see this kind of a strike card, which will be destroying other cards. So this will apply to your whole team the way other card effects do. And I think that this is going to be very interesting because you may destroy Dragonball cards, you might destroy blue cards, you might be destroying some really important stuff there for the enemy team. Moving right into his arts, because we have a lot to cover today, so we're going to try and keep this fast-paced and not make a 45-minute video here. So looking at his final impact. So it deals major pierce damage and 50% chance to inflict heavy bleed on hit. So this is a heavy bleed. So how big of a bleed this will actually translate to in terms of numbers, we'll have to wait and see. Plus 30% to own self-destruct damage inflicted for 25 timer counts. That's fine. I think so far most units with a self-destruct have had something that can increase it, because self-destruct is generally going to be a fixed value. But this here looks like a standard ability, right? Straight line attack, inflicts the bleed. Very cool looking too. Let's move down here to the skill card. The plus 15 to strike damage inflicted for 15 timer counts costs you 10 ki. That's completely fine, very standard. Nothing wrong with this. Reduces the activation time on ultimate cards, so this is your self-destruct again. Reducing the activation time. So we'll get into it soon, but there's a shield that you get that you saw in the animation there, and I believe that that can be broken. Looking at the actual self-destruction final explosion, that's your ultimate card. Deals major self-destruct. Now if you'll notice, this actually affects the entire map, the entire area. It's just, it gets blown up to smithereens, right? This self-destruct damage does not depend on your own health, so this does not matter if you do it at full health or at low health. Doesn't fix them out. Can be buffed again by your super card. Apply Strike and Blast Arts armor. So I have a feeling this armor can be broken. I think that's why you can reduce the duration, which means that he might be able to get interrupted here, possibly killed. Who knows, right? I can see something like super, like a blue card, or even any kind of card doing damage to him, knocking him out of the animation. So although this hits everything, including your benched units here, a portion of the damage inflicted will also be dealt to enemy members on standby. This is going to cause them to be defeated, which is cool that they can be defeated, by the way. But I think that the reason why it's hitting literally all the things is because I think it can be interrupted by breaking that armor. So maybe not as ridiculous as people are thinking. So far, though, I mean, this looks like a decent unit, right? It looks like basically what we'd expect out of a Majin Vegeta, right? A big blue card, doing that heavy bleed, more strike damage out of his green card, and making the self-destruct and that signature move happen. Sounds great. Let's move on to the main ability. So the main ability makes him draw that self-destruct similar to 16. That's fine. Z ability buffs the Saiyan's base blast attack, which is cool. It's needed since most of the Saiyan buffs don't really focus on that except for Vegeta himself. So again, Vegeta bringing that base blast attack. So I'm not surprised here, even though he's a melee unit. Now this is where I say the skill cap comes in, right? Where you have 50% to damage inflicted for 15 timer counts every time this character enters the battlefield. So basically you're getting the equivalent of Perfect Cell's damage to Super Saiyan's, 10% a little stronger even, 10% stronger, every time he enters the battlefield. Fine. Most units are doing some kind of ridiculous damage if it's meta, right? So whether it's the damage to hybrids, damage to Saiyans, damage to androids, the main abilities, all that stuff. So this isn't even something new. This isn't overpowered in any way. Most units have something. He just doesn't have it to any kind of specific tag. It's just this, right? Because if you'll remember, his main ability is just that Ultimate's card, which is his self-destruct. So not anything, I guess, game-breaking here, but, I mean, yes, 50% to damage inflicted is huge, don't get me wrong, but the issue comes in with the attribute downgrade to his own team, 30% damage received. So it's bad enough that what I just mentioned, right, we have anti-tags in the game. He's going to be applying an extra 30% taken by your team to begin with. So, you know, hopefully you use him in a way that you don't get outplayed by, you know, key cancel or something like that, and Rising Rushed, right? Because then he comes out, dies, doesn't get the self-destruct off, doesn't get the 50% damage up front off, and he just basically dies and debuffs your whole team. So yikes, right? This is why I'm saying that at high levels it's going to be very difficult to use, because people know how to play the game. They know how to prioritize a target, how to isolate a target, and how to eliminate that target, okay? I mean, Saiyans have been around forever, and Perfect Cell is not even close to being a problem. Whereas in lower levels, you can literally one-shot like a hybrid or a Saiyan, right? So this is kind of what makes me think Majin Vegeta is actually, I mean, he's not a terrible unit, but I would put him not in Z tier. That's for sure. Definitely not in Z tier. This is very, very bad, given the current meta, right? Fade Goku, key recovery up, 50% to own key recovery, 15 counts with face with character Goku. That's fine, that's really, really good actually. Making the current sidestep give you a little more, well actually a lot more, 50% is kind of a lot to your own key recovery there. So yeah, this is why I don't think Majin Vegeta is all that great. When we have a look at these next two units, actually let's get into Goku Black, who I think is the second best. I think that Super Saiyan 3 Goku is the best. I think that Goku Black is the second best. So let's get right into his animations and take a look at what he does, because he's bringing something that the Saiyan team didn't need, but will need to stay relevant, right? Because obviously, I mean, it's pretty clear that Saiyans are going to stay the #1 team. They pretty much have always been the #1 team. Hybrids kind of had a run when we kind of got introduced that huge damage kind of meta. Now most teams do a lot of damage, whether it's Kamikolo, whether it's what is it, the new Android 18, whether it's literally most of the units on Saiyans, whether it's Super Vegeta or Gogeta or whatever. You know, now we have something that focuses on a tag, because we're moving into a one-shot meta. So adding on these anti-tags will make a very, very kind of not pay to win, but almost pay to win, right? Because if you're not rolling for these units, you're going to fall behind and you're going to be at a disadvantage, because you'll be able to pick and choose which unit you bring. I mean, we'll talk about Super Saiyan 3 Goku in a second, where he has an anti-regeneration tag. I mean, you'll have 3 anti-tags on the Saiyan team now. So let's start with his arts here. I do want to point out that he is a Saiyan and he's a Blast type. So we were speculating what tag he would have, like a God tag or something like that, or a whatever. He is a Saiyan. His Z ability does buff future units. So, whatever. The Saiyan tag is pretty cool though, because he's getting all those buffs. Now, anyways, coming back to the arts cards. Deals major impact damage, inflicts attribute downgrade, 20% to blast damage received. Standard stuff, nothing crazy there. Teach it to Shallot, whatever, it's cool. Looking at his green card, now, I like to point out what's overpowered, I like to point out what's underpowered. Now this here is another thing that I've been noticing people talking about throughout the day, and they're freaking out over this 30% to own Vanish gauge recovery for 15 timer counts. Why? I'm going to throw some knowledge down on you guys here. 30% to own Vanish gauge is not a whole lot. The only way this ends up getting any kind of usefulness is if for some reason you're sitting on 100 key after using your Vanish and you're just using your blast cards and buying time for yourself, because otherwise 30% isn't going to do anything. If you just use your Vanish and you're using this, I mean, that's still 70% of your timer on Vanish. Trust me, you need to switch or you're getting hit, right? Like something is happening, you're trading, you're doing something, and this is not going to do anything for your Vanish. The game is way too fast-paced right now for 30% to matter. The only unit that this matters on is someone like Janemba, where you have your, I believe it's even higher than this, I think it's like 40 or 50% even, off of his blue card where he reduces his Vanish, but he has things to stay on the battlefield, right? So if you try to attack him, he can hit you with that skill card which reflects your Ki Blast back at you. If you try to charge at him with a strike card, he can blast you in the face, right? We've seen these videos before of Janemba's doing this. Goku Black does not have any of this, so that 30% means very, very little in such a fast-paced game. The 15 timer counts though, elapse gives you 20% to blast damage, and 25 counts gives you an extra 25% to ki recovery on top of that. This is better, but it also costs you 20 ki. I mean, it'll get reduced once you get into 398%, fine, but it's still the equivalent basically of a strike card, and this is a blast unit bringing 2 blast cards. I think we're going to be needing, I mean, you know, when you have so much damage out of those unique abilities that we'll see in a second, I don't think the 20 ki here will be useful unless you're using it during a neutral screen and getting some of that ki back off the neutral screen. So this is going to be another high skill cap character. I would say most of these new characters are very high skill cap compared to what we've gotten recently. But moving on to the abilities, we have our Welcome Pain, which is now what I'll talk about being overpowered. So remember how Super Vegeta, I mean not Super Vegeta, Majin Vegeta would get 50% more damage, but would basically wreck his team for it. The debuff on the team lasts longer than the actual damage buff. This here is 20 timer counts of 50% more damage if your health is over 50%. Just straight up, you wait 15 timer counts, pop your main ability, boom, you're doing 50% more damage. You guys remember what my 18 video looked like where I was two-shotting people? I mean, he has an anti-Saiyan, an anti-hybrid Saiyan tag, plus he's got this shenaniganry. It's starting to stack up, guys, and we're not done adding damage to Goku Black here. And he does have that Saiyan tag, so he's getting all the Z abilities, by the way. So looking very good here. If his health is below 50%, restores his own health by 20%. So he gets the self-heal, and it only drops his damage down to 35%. I think this is where it gets really ridiculous. I mean, if anything, they should have reduced damage more, or maybe taken away the damage, so you had the choice of bringing him in later at full health where you get the bonus damage, or if you get caught, you can heal yourself instead of getting that bonus damage and work off the rest of his abilities. I do think this is an overpowered, you know, it needs like a kind of rework type thing, but as a new unit, you got to get the hype up. Everyone was really excited about Goku Black, so you need to do something overpowered, I feel. So this right here is what I put in that overpowered bracket here. Moving down to his Z ability was actually a tag future-based blast attack, which you can't really see here, but it's essentially a useless tag right now. It's only buffing him. I guess later on when we get possibly the blue-haired Trunks, maybe his awakened form when he kills Fuse Zamasu. Zamasu himself, obviously, Fuse Zamasu with Goku Black. We're going to have a bunch of future units. They're probably all going to have the future tag. I think, who else was there? There's probably a bunch of warriors that we see getting killed that will probably be brought back. You know, there's a potential for the tag. If they put it on, obviously they have a plan for it. So, whatever. But what I want to focus on is what we see right here, the Utopia's Beginning. 30% to Saiyan and hybrids. We knew about this, right? But I don't think people understand how ridiculous it is to have a unit on your team that can counter 2 big meta teams, right? Like, I mean, everybody's saying hybrids are trash, but people keep running the stupid team, and they're gonna keep getting dumped on, first by androids, now by Saiyans. I mean, this is kind of ridiculous. You can kind of just keep him on your bench. I mean, you don't have to bring a new unit, right? If you're going against androids, I mean, he's still good against androids. That's the problem. He still brings all that damage and can nuke people down. I mean, if you bring 17, I mean, even if you have 16 out and he kind of tanks, well, if he stays out too long because he was the 3rd unit rotated in, well, then here comes the damage, right? And the last thing is the blast attack up glory. 35% to blast damage inflicted for 20 timer counts every time this character defeats an enemy. Again, the skill cap coming in, I think that this will be way better used at high levels because people will know how to rotate him in mid-combo for that last hit just to get the 35% to blast damage while still having your vanish up. So what happens is you pull him in right as the last hit is about to go off in your combo, and this is how you kill someone with Goku Black with a certainty to it. And then he has 35% to blast damage, pop his main ability, 50% if you're against a Saiyan or a hybrid Saiyan, you get another 30%. You're working with over 100% damage, and this is just for being him, right? Just for rotating him in and using things. So I think that overall Goku Black is going to be a staple in the Saiyan team, just because of his kit. Just it's huge damage, absolutely ridiculous. Now, Super Saiyan 3 Goku is the unit I will personally be really pulling for. I mean, obviously, we've been dying for a purple unit, absolutely dying for a purple unit. He fits perfectly into that last slot, regardless of your Saiyan team right now. If you were running the standard Gogeta, what is it, Super Vegeta, Bardock, Instant Transmission Goku, maybe Fist Q, and then you had kind of an open slot for buffs, so whether it was Purple Vegeta, whether it was Shallot for the health, Raditz for the health, whatever it was that you were doing, well, forget all that. You're putting this Purple Goku in now to deal with all those green units running around. Now, having a look at his actual abilities, we have the Super Kamehameha, deals major impact damage, inflicts attribute downgrade plus 20% to strike damage. Very standard stuff, getting that strike damage bonus, 20%, that's fine. Unlock key, form of attack, 25% to strike damage inflicted, and -5 to all strike arts cards for 15 timer counts. This is very good. Very, very good stuff. Reduces your strike cards so you'll be able to chain them on. Helps with key. 25% to strike damage is actually really a lot. Not gonna lie. Neo Super Dragon Fist. Now, this is basically what people were complaining about, where it's just a mashup of the old abilities. 25% chance to inflict feint on hit. Fine, that's fair. That's okay, I guess. Nothing really groundbreaking there, except for that green card giving so much strike damage. But now, main ability, draw the ultimate arts card, Neo Super Dragon Fist. So that's your ultimate. Z ability gives him 90% to tag Saiyan base blast defense. Not sure if the 5-star version will be buffing anything else. A lot of these are very underwhelming. I would assume, I mean, they would probably follow the pattern of having your 5-star give you something else, which is why they look so whatever. But possibly not. Maybe they heard people's complaints about it and they won't. We'll have to wait and see. Now, unique ability. So this is where things start to get a little bit ridiculous, because his unique abilities make him do a lot of damage. So 20% to strike to damage, not strikes, just regular damage inflicted for 10 timer counts every time this character enters the battlefield. So remember how Vegeta debuffs his whole team if he enters the battlefield for 50%? Well, you get a 20% here for free. And then following effects also occur depending on the number of timer counts elapsed. So this is going to be the new hold on to, maybe pull him in second or something like that, so that you get at least 15 counts elapsed. So you get 20% damage. Then you also get an extra 20% to damage inflicted. And then at 30 counts, you get 30% to own key recovery. Fine, that's really good, but still, it's not as much as damage. But at 40 counts, so if you're at the end of the fight, 30% to strike damage inflicted. So this ability alone, not used to change yet, 20% plus 20% plus 30%, just off this, just because you're Goku Super Saiyan 3. That is a lot of damage. This will make him a menace from start to finish. I mean, already just starting to fight. Even if you want to start the fight and rotate him off for any reason, you already have 20% at the start of the battle for 10 time ago. So if you win that first neutral screen, 20% more damage, just because. Once you bring him back, another 20%. So he's doing 40% damage now. He's hitting you even harder. You rotate him off again, maybe. Bring him back at the end of the fight. An extra 30% strike damage. You know, he's doing an extra, always a 70 just off this. A little bit ridiculous, but it doesn't end there. He also has the anti-regeneration tag, strike attack up 40% to strike damage inflicted against tag regeneration. So this is essentially rounding off the Saiyan team between him and Goku Black to counter the rest of the meta, basically, except for androids. Androids are kind of made to kill Saiyans, so I doubt they'll be getting some kind of anti-android kind of team ability. But this basically is the rock, paper, scissors coming full circle here for Saiyans. Overall, I think that these units are really, really cool. So my team that I'll be bringing will likely be Gogeta. I would say Goku Black might replace Super Vegeta here. I'm still wondering if I continue to bring Fist Coup or if I just swap in the blue spot and the purple spot for Goku Black and Super Saiyan 3 Goku. I might just replace Super Vegeta altogether for Goku Black. We'll see about that. And then I'll have Bardock, Instant Transmission Goku. So that's kind of looking like my team right now. Just ready for absolutely literally any situation. If I do see a Majin Vegeta on the O team, which inevitably I'm sure I will, then Instant Transmission Goku, Bardock, you know, those are going to be your go-to units depending on which one you have, to make sure that you isolate him or stop what he's doing and give yourself those neutral screens to stop his damage and just let him waste away. We'll have to see how that self-destruct armor mechanism works. I'm hoping you can destroy it. I really am hoping you can destroy it. I would hate to see something where he's just immune and does damage no matter what. I think that would be really stupid, so I think that shield can be destroyed. But that being said, guys, we'll see you guys in the next video. That is going to be it for these, I guess, review videos. Not review videos, but material coverage videos. We're going to be looking at some PvP and some... I've got some math for you guys in one of the videos. Not soon. I want to give you guys some action next week, but I have a bunch of PvP insider stuff to go through with you guys. We're taking it back to school the way the channel started, just that there's been so much going on with Bandai releasing all these announcements and all that good stuff. That's why I wanted to make this a longer video, in order to kind of get everything out one shot, not release, you know, one unit at a time. Once I pull them, because I will be pulling all three. I'm going to be trying them all out, and I'm going to bring you guys a lot of content next week. So if you're not subscribed, make sure that you do. Drop a like on this video. Let's get this straight to the top, regardless of where you're coming from, forums, whatever. Get those up there too. Let's get everybody in on this giveaway as well. And I will catch you guys on the next one. See ya.